Wrestle Magic Pod, official sponsors of British Empire Wrestling.
All right, everyone. Tonight's episode of Wrestle Magic, we have a very special guest, and I am more than excited for it. So is King Scully. Tonight, we have the world's strongest man, Mr. Mark Henry. Sir, how you doing today, man? What's going on in your life?
Listen, I'm doing great. I would like to say that life is perfect, but that would be a stretch. But life is pretty damn good.
It's good to hear, man. It's good to hear. And welcome to the podcast. We are absolutely stoked to have you on. One of the first questions we always like to ask our guests is a little bit about your childhood, just to get to know who was Mark Henry before he was the world's strongest man and everything. Who was young Mark Henry?
Young Mark Henry was a fun-loving kid that loved sports, and I was a little misunderstood. You know, I've always been big like this, not this big, but when I was 5, I was bigger than every 5-year-old in the state probably. By the time that I was in the 5th grade, I was already 220 pounds and, like 4'11", almost 5 feet tall. So I was taller. Normally at that age, all the girls are taller than the boys. But not me. I was still taller than everybody, and I would look like our school teacher. So it was a little bit odd. But I had dyslexia, and I still have dyslexia. Every now and then when I'm writing, I'll write backwards, or I'll say something backwards, and then I'll correct myself. It's just, like having a learning disability that was discovered early enough for me to learn practices and study habits that would fix it was a big deal.
Wow. I never knew that you had dyslexia. That's something that's brand new to me, and I'm kind of impressed, because that's something a lot of people struggle with, and I'm really glad to hear that you were able to really cope with it and everything. How do you think that kind of shaped your understanding of the world and your way into the wrestling business?
I think that in wrestling, it didn't affect me much because it was physical, and it was, I've always been a fan of books and story. I never had problems with reading. I enjoyed reading. The dyslexia really affected me in my writing and in my mathematics. But to sit and read, I just love stories. And pro wrestling is about telling the story, but using physical action. And it just fell right into place. I mean, my grandmother used to take me to watch wrestling, and if she said, "Listen, your grade's not good enough. You've been fighting, whatever. I can't take you." It would crush me. That was pro wrestling saved my life. It kept me from being, I was on the path of not being a good kid, and spent time in juvenile and what they call the box, ISS, whatever you want to call it. But sports saved me from that.
Okay. I like that. Hey, you got back on a better path. And next thing I did want to ask you about, so when exactly did you get into lifting, and when did that really take off for you?
I loved lifting from 1976. I was just, 7 years old. But my mother bought weights for my brother when I was 11 and he was 13, because he was going to start lifting and playing football. And I just took to the weights more than anybody, and including my brother, even though my brother was very strong. I just loved it, man. I would work out and go look in the mirror at myself for like an hour. It was the craziest thing. And when I saw, I used to love the Incredible Hulk. I used to love the A-Team. Any show where there was a big, strong person on it, I wanted it. And there was a TV show on MTV, not MTV, it was a ESPN called Body Shaping with Jeff and Corey Everson. And it was a married couple, and they used to work out. And I've since met Corey Everson, who went in the International Sports Hall of Fame a couple of years, maybe in the same class as me, but maybe the year after. And I told her, I said, like I learned a lot of the stuff that I did lifting wise by watching your show. And she just broke down crying. She said, "You kidding?" And I said, "No, I used to watch the show every day. I used to copy and go outside and position the weights the way y'all did and just repeat what I saw." And I'm a visual learner. And in pro wrestling, you have to be taught everything. Just like you go to wrestling school, you go to college, like you have to learn everything. But I already had a sense of how to tell the story. Am I the bad guy? Am I the good guy? What was the trigger point that made the person go to the dark side? Like I was a Star Wars kid. So it was a lot of things that they all kind of lined up to make me who I became, and it all started from me lifting weights and watching different shows to become who I ended up becoming, which is the strongest man in the world.
Amazing. I honestly love that. From a young age, you pursued what you loved, and it helped you go into something else that you really, really loved. There's no better story than that. Honestly, that's happiness.
And a lot of people talk kids out of their dreams. The parents are a school teacher, or the parent is a fireman or a police officer or whatever, and they try to push the kid into being who they are. And I didn't have that. My mom used to tell me all the time, "Look, when you graduate high school, you're getting out of my house. So you better start working, because whatever you do, you're going to work. You're going to go to the military. You're going to go to the Peace Corps. You're going to go to college, but you're getting out. You're doing something." And that was a lot of pressure for a 6 or 7-year-old. My mom had the exit strategy, like, get your butt to work because you're going to need it soon.
Yeah, my family was kind of similar. We can talk a little bit more about that later, but I don't really want to hog the mic completely tonight. So, Scully, why don't you go ahead and take over, buddy? I know you've got some questions too.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we didn't know that you had dyslexia. My boy, he's 10 years old. He's got dyslexia. And his is his writing. Like, he'll do the B the wrong way and the D and all that. But he just loves playing Minecraft. That's his thing.
Well,
he loves building.
This is the thing. Dyslexia is also a small form of autism. And anytime you have a learning disability or anything to that effect, one thing may be weak, but other things are stronger. You have to find out what your kid is very strong at and tell him that's what you need to do. If he latches on to it, he's going to kill it, because his brain is wired to really be passionate about what he knows, what he feels, rather than what you just try to teach him. The one thing that helped me, well, it was a bunch of things, and you've probably had your kid go to a rehabist. I don't know how you say it in your English.
Yeah, we're in the UK. Yeah.
So you in the States, you go to a center, and in these places they show you how to fix. So my thing was writing was an issue, and I had to write something that I loved for 20 minutes every day. So every day I'm sitting there writing, what do I feel, it was about food, or it was about playing football with my mates. It was about basketball, or Magic Johnson was somebody I loved. Like, you find out that one thing and then you write about it, 20 minutes. And sometimes the paper would be, I would never pick the pen up from the paper. It was just, because I'm writing what I think. And sometimes I misspelled the words, or, I said something backwards, but I got into a habit of finishing a thought. And sometimes that was the whole point. They wanted you to learn something and then to continue it. Because when you have dyslexia, you start getting headaches because of the pressure of doing it. And sometimes if it's something that I don't know about, now I got to research. Now I got to listen to somebody tell me how it works or what happened. It's not me. I don't love it. So I'm not going to excel at it. You got to let your kid figure it out on their own, but give them practices where they can get better. And it's all going to come down to having that teacher really enjoy their work, because the girl that came to my hometown, she was a student teacher. She had just studied dyslexia and dysgraphia. There's another one called dysgraphia, where your fine motor skills with your hands don't work well. There was several other things they tested me for, and they were all learning disabilities. But she said, "You're pretty smart. Like you should really try to write down what you think." She was tricking me. She was tricking me to do what it would be to practice and do better. And it worked, because I wrote over 100 poems in my life. I started to enjoy radio. And that's what ended up being my job after wrestling, is I'm a radio host. I'm one of the number one radio hosts on Sirius XM with our channel, Busted Open. And then I have the number one sports show here in Austin, Texas. And the byproduct is the fact that when I was young, I would record songs off the radio, and then I would edit them, and then I would put them on tapes, and then I would make these tapes for girls. I was like, here you go. I made this for you. And I was slick, man. I knew what I liked early. And you think about what I was doing. I was forcing myself to do something that I ended up doing so many times that I got really good at it. And that's what you need to trick your kid into doing. But it's really not a trick. It's you're finding out what they love. And we as parents, me included, I try to force my kids to do certain things. And I think about where I came from, and I realize that it's what they love that they're going to be passionate about, and what they're going to work hard at. Your kid might like cooking. Dad, I can make the best sandwich ever made. And then they end up becoming like the person that makes the best sandwiches in the world. I don't know. I'm just making it up. I'm just saying that's the philosophy.
Yeah, that's good advice. Thank you very much. I will. And I think I'm going to do that strategy with him. I'm going to give him a piece of paper, and I'm going to try that with him, because
20 minutes, no pressure. Yeah. And if you write one paragraph, that's good enough. If you go, what were you doing all this time? I was thinking. I used to tell my teachers that all the time. I would not finish my work. And they would be like, what are you doing, Mark? Why didn't you write it down? It's on the board. It's right there in front of you. I was thinking. And also, I didn't want to make mistakes. You have to let your kid know, I fail all the time, but I get back up. I may make a mistake, but I don't want to make the same mistake over and over. I might make it 2 or 3 times, but even I make mistakes. I'm trying to fix my mistakes. Like, we browbeat our kids too much, and I don't want to sit here and make this a Mark Henry parenting show, but it's just, I love kids. I always did. My first job in college was I worked kids club at the YMCA. And it's because they couldn't get nobody to do it. Ain't that crazy? And then I found out why later on. It's not the kids, it's the parents. Oh my gosh, man, I used to have arguments with parents every Friday and Saturday. I'm like, hey, you got to bring your kid to practice. Oh, okay. They don't show up. And then on Saturday, when we go play games and do things, like, I have to play the kids that came to practice. It would be unethical. It would be disrespectful to the parents that brought their kids, and they would fuss at me. I mean, cuss at me and tell me that I was a racist or all kind of craziness. But the kids all love me because we played games, in which one of the things that bring me the most joy in my life is I established a thing called Mark Henry Strong Kids. You can go online and see stuff, or you can go to All Caribbean Wrestling, where I'm the CEO of the company and also one of the owners. And like, we do wrestling shows in the Caribbean. And before those wrestling shows, we go to find a gym and we invite the people out. We get sponsors to pay for it, so the kids don't have to pay for it, and they can just come and learn how to live from me. And we have a good time, man. We have a ball. So I get it.
That's quality. Thank you for that. I'll definitely take it on board. I mean, I tried to force him, like you said, I tried to force him to play football, brought him football boots, well, soccer as you guys call it in America. I brought him football boots, I brought him a kit, took him to training. The amount of arguments we had to try and get him to go, and he didn't want to go. No, I'm not going. I paid for this.
Nothing is better than a challenge. You know what's better than lifting weights? Nothing. I got an extra microphone right here. And I would challenge him. I would be like, I bet you 2 pieces of cherry candy that you can't hold this out straight in front of you for 1 minute straight. I'm going to run the clock. You let me know when you're ready. 2 pieces of candy? Yes. Like, bro, incentives. Think about you. If somebody told you, hey man, you drink beer?
Yeah. I like Guinness. Guinness is
okay. If somebody said, listen, man, I bet you a pint that you can't hold 2 plates over your head like this for 1 minute straight. If you did it, if you put 2 plates on your hands like this, you're going to be shaking like this in 1 minute. I promise you. It don't seem like a lot,
no.
But it's still an activity that requires motor skill, endurance, thought. Like when you're putting yourself when you do these challenges to your kid, challenge them. They're going to learn that, and I bet you your friends can't do it either. And now they're going to go to their friends. They're going to still do it and challenge them. I'm better than you because I've done it before. I mean, don't tell them, don't arm wrestle. leg wrestle. Like, you got to challenge them and trick them into doing stuff that's fun. My kids have both been state champions in wrestling because I've wrestled with them on the floor every day.
Wow.
Hey, when I go to the gym, they be like, Dad, where you going? I want to go. I'm going to the gym. I'm finna go have some fun. I want to go. All right. Hey, man, you got to be slick.
Yep. Agreed.
Yep.
You know, and I guarantee you, your kids, they're going to grow up and they're going to love you for it. They're going to be like, man, my dad used to take me to the gym. My dad used to take me to play. But you can't force them. Oh, you're going to go. I paid a lot of money for you. And that my mother did that one time, and she realized when she said it, she made a mistake because she made us feel like we owed her to do something. And the look on our face made her go, I shouldn't have said that. Because she never did that. And I remember my brother telling her, why are you always trying to make us do stuff? I was like, I wouldn't have said that, but but
yeah, I do a thing called a countdown. So basically, it's not very often because I'm normally at work, but if I do the school run, they'll refuse to put like the two of them, my boy and my daughter. The oldest one, she's good, she'll just do it, but getting their uniform on, refuse to get their uniform on. So I'll start singing the final countdown and I'll be like, you got 10 seconds to get your shirt on. And I'm like, 10, 9, they quickly do it then. It's like a game, innit? And they quickly get their uniform on before the time runs out.
Oh, man. Yes. See, that's what I'm talking about. That is great strategy. And they, like, down the road, they'll learn strategy. They'll learn to challenge their mates. And, you know, my daughter is really that way. My son is an entertainer. Like, he's going to be a really good wrestler because he just loves wrestling and he wants to entertain. My daughter, whoa, she is about competition. I'm going to beat you. You can't beat me. I want to be the best. And then I somewhere along the line, I told her when she was very young that I had no way out except for to succeed in sports because everything else pointed to me working a job that I didn't like. So I had to become really good at something. And whatever, I don't know how it processed to her, but she fell in love with wrestling, and she's the best wrestler in the state. She's a sophomore in high school, and all she wants to do is like go prove that she's better. And you get that competition that we call it the dog. You got that dog in you. Got that drive, that lion heart. You know, you get people like that, man. It's a dangerous thing.
Most definitely. Totally agree. And, hearing you talk about how much that you love kids and everything. Now, I met you about a year ago now. It was February of last year in Manchester, UK at For the Love of Wrestling. And yeah. I remember I was close to the front of the line waiting for you to come back from doing photographs and everything. I'm listening to Mick Foley's Q&A, and I remember there's this little kid at the front of the line. And I remember very distinctly, he was getting excited as soon as you showed up, and you immediately looked up and you went, oh, he's ready. All right, he's getting ready for me. And you were like, hey, you get over here. You pull this kid over to the side next to the table and you're showing him pictures on your phone. Like, this is my son. He's a little older than you now, but, this is just what he looks like and everything. And it was really cool just to see you interacting with fans that way. And just even listening to your Q&A, that's what kind of got me thinking, I really want this guy to be on my show at some point. And, it's kind of funny because I still have the autograph that you gave me that day, right?
Come on, man.
Still a fan, still a Mark. But,
Me too. I'm a Mark, literally. My name is Mark.
Most definitely. But yeah, I also remember during your Q&A session that you had said something along the lines of, I believe somebody had asked, like, who was your favorite? And I believe you had said Andre the Giant, if I remember correctly. And I did just want to ask you, so what exactly made you fall in love with Andre? Was it just his stage presence? Was it just his size? What exactly pulled you in so much to Andre?
I think a lot of it was the fact that he was just so huge and there was nobody like him. And like everybody was talking about him in my town, like the place was sold out. There was no more seats. And there were a lot of people that were fighting and mad because they couldn't get in to see him. That's what Andre did to everybody all over the world. He traveled all over the world. He was like literally the eighth wonder of the world. Like people wanted to see him like they wanted to see Mount Everest, the Grand Canyon, like the pyramids. Like he was an international living, breathing, like landmark. And when I heard the story, like, man, he 500 pounds and he's 7'3". I'm like, no way. No way. There were no basketball players that big. Wilt Chamberlain, but he was not that. He wasn't 500 pounds.
Right.
And I was like, I want to see him. And my grandmother got tickets. And we went to the Beaumont Civic Center. And just like the little kids that was in line that got to meet me, I got to meet Andre. I didn't get to talk to him, but I was, he was walking. I'm trying to touch him. And the kids behind me knocked me over to where my hands hit the ground. And now my feet are up on the barricade, like like the thing you park your bicycle in, the bicycle racks.
Yeah.
And I'm looking up like this, and Andre grabs me and picks me up and puts me back over there with the other kids. Bro, it changed my life. I try to do that. I want some kid, I'm gonna be dead in 20 or 30 years. But I want some kid to be like, man, I met Mark Henry in person. Like he was the strongest man in the world. I met the strong, like that mean a lot to me. It might not mean a lot to every other athlete or entertainer or celebrity, whatever you want to call people. But it mean a lot to me how I'm perceived. And I'm very distracted by that humongous cat that's in the window. It's huge.
I'm like, you won't leave me alone.
Listen, man, my daughter, our bet is if she wins state this year, that she gets a cat. And she wants a Maine Coon cat. You ever heard of those?
Yeah, massive.
I call it the horror movie cat because they look scary. But they're huge. Some of them can get up to 35 pounds.
Yeah.
That is big, man. You have to feed mice to something like that. I'm not feeding it.
I mean, it's a cat that's proportional to you, boss, to everybody else. But, I get your point.
Yeah.
I can see it now, walking in a room, and that cat is just, you know how they don't say nothing? They don't make a sound. They just look at you.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be scary, man. I know she's going to win. That's the bad thing. I might as well buy it already.
I believe it 100% for sure. And you have a lot of confidence in your kids. And I like that, seeing how much that I don't want to say push them into it, but how much they've pushed themselves and how much drive they have with wanting to accomplish their goals. And I think that's really important. I do love hearing about how much you want to just leave your mark on the world. And for people to remember, Mark Henry was one of those really nice guys that I met as a kid. nicest dude in the world. And that's kind of how I felt even just being in that line that day and hearing your Q&A session. You were just so genuine with everything going on. I remember seeing all 4 members that were there of the Nation. And I remember seeing, like, you'd see, you know, Godfather's at one table, D-Lo's at another. And all of a sudden he'd be like, hey, Mark, get over here a second, because some fan asked a question. You're coming over and you're like just telling the story as well for whatever fan asked a question about. And I'm just thinking, like, man, this guy really is, you know, somebody who wants to leave his mark.
I truly love people. It's not an act. It's not work to me. It's not. Now, if I'm hungry and I haven't eaten, and somebody brings me a plate of food, and you're coming over trying to talk to me, and you see me with a plate of food, I'm going to take it as you don't care that I'm trying to eat. And I'm going to be like, I'm not talking to you until I finish eating. And you just got to stand there and wait. But I'm not going to be mean. I'm just going to give you the amount of respect that you give me. And that's just the way I am with everybody. And there are people that have actually been mean to me before. It's hard to believe it, but there are people that have been rude or mean or whatever, and impatient or disrespectful. And I don't scream and yell no more. When I was young and stupid, you know, I might have lashed out. Man, in my old age, I've gotten so calm. And I realized that you're not going to please everybody. And people need to realize that there are people out there that realize you can't please everybody. Don't mess with them. Leave those people alone. They will embarrass you.
Totally agree. But so I do also want to ask you, so where exactly does your wrestling journey begin? Where does everything start for Mark Henry?
Vince McMahon called me, and Jim Ross and another guy, Milo Sonborn, they saw videos of me. And they said, this dude is entertaining. He should be a wrestler. So Vince said, all right, well, give me his information. I'll call him. Vince called me, and I thought it was one of my buddies joking around, and I hung up on him. And my coach called me back, and he said, hey, man, did you hang up on Vince? I said, that was Vince for real? And he said, yes, like he wants to talk to you. And I said, oh, my bad, man. Like, I'll call him back. He said, just stay by your phone. He's finna call back right now. And he called me, and I told him, I said, hey, I'm a wrestling fan. I thought it was one of my guys playing a joke. And he said, don't worry about it. This ain't the first time that happened. And he invited me to come to Connecticut. I went up there, and I got to meet Yokozuna. I got to meet The Undertaker and Bret Hart, and like all these people that I idolized and I watched on TV. And there was you know who Dr. Tom is?
Believe so. Memory's a little foggy.
Pritchard.
Yes,
Tom Pritchard is Bruce Pritchard's brother. Brother Love. Remember? I love you. Like that. They wrestling royalty.
Yeah.
And he said he was retiring from wrestling, that he was just tired of getting beat up and his body hurt, that he wanted to start teaching wrestling. And I was the first person. So before, you had to go into a territory and learn everything from the ground up to become a wrestler. That's not what happened with me. Like the WWE or WWF at the time started saying that we're going to help teach and cultivate our own talent. And I was the first one. And the second one was The Rock. He moved in with me. We trained every day, lived in the same place, hung out together. visited each other's families. Like we like brothers. And we got into wrestling, and wrestling is not, we weren't going to be a tag team. We were both individual guys, and we ended up going our separate ways. But the WWE, the way that they started the developmental program, you'd be hard to beat it. I mean, you could take every wrestler that's come from the developmental system and compare them to me and The Rock, and it would be hard for you to put two guys that would beat the success that me and The Rock had.
Totally agree.
First two.
Very first two, for sure. So it looks like we have time for maybe one more question. Scully, what do you got for Mr. Henry?
So my question, well, it's a double question.
Come on, give it up.
You had two of the best theme songs, Sexual Chocolate and Sounded Like Barry White. And you also had, obviously, 3-6 Mafia.
Somebody's going to get it.
Yeah. Obviously, they both went with your characters at the time. So, obviously, what did you make of your theme songs? Like,
I loved them because I actually helped. Like, they ask you, like, so how do you feel about this? And when we created the Sexual Chocolate character, it wasn't about winning and losing to me. It was about entertaining people and having the guy get the girl. And they make it funny and they make it entertaining at the same time. And they let me hear like 3 or 4 different songs, and I didn't like them. And I said, hey, won't you something like this that, you know, and when I heard it, I just started laughing because I was like, that's perfect. And they did a really, really good job. And I knew the guys from 3-6 Mafia. I used to go to Memphis all the time, and I knew that Juicy J and Prince Paul were wrestling fans because I'd see them at shows. And then they did some unbelievable work, you know, with the movie that they ended up winning an Oscar for, and writing the theme song. And I just was like, who do you think is going to do the song? And they didn't know. And then Jim Johnson said, hey, did you see that movie Hustle and Flow? The guys just won an Oscar. I said, yeah. And it's hard out here. And I started singing. He said, I want those guys to do your song. And I was like, man, you should call them and tell them to call me because I have some ideas. And I got to talk to him and tell him my story. That's why when you hear the song and he's rapping and telling a story about my life and where I came from. The songs weren't like that back then. Like my song is a one of one. You know, so when you hear other songs, they might say, oh, I want it to sound like Kiss, or I want it to sound like this or sound like that. It don't have the intent that somebody's going to get it. Like the terminology, they even use the terminology. Like we talk just like me and you talking. And, you know, when I said to split your head to the white meat, they laughed. They was like, man, who says that? Like, golly, you know, and we had a good time talking. And when I heard what they did with Somebody's Gonna Get It, I knew right away, man, this is gonna be tough to beat. This is awesome. And when I went to the ring, I always wanted to let my energy match the music. And I think I did a decent job of that.
Oh,
yeah, definitely.
I got questions for y'all now.
Okay.
So I'm looking in the background and I see Master Yoda.
Absolutely.
And there have been a lot of sagas. The Marvel Universe, Star Wars Universe, Rocky series. Like, where does the Star Wars saga stand with you?
It's one of the most important to me, honestly. I love Star Wars, hence why I have Yoda, which that's also hand painted, by the way. Know an artist out here who did pretty good job, I believe. I also have a Millennium Falcon over on another wall in here. But yeah, Star Wars has been important to me for a long time. But man, I don't know, when Disney pumped out the last 3 movies and some of the shows, I'm just like, I don't feel it. Some of the shows are okay. Like Mandalorian's good.
Can I help you to gather those films? They're prequels that tell the story of how things came to be. Now, it doesn't take away from, you look at the technology of the first 3 films, and you can tell, okay, the technology is not the same then as it is now.
Of course.
But Andor, the story of Andor led to the scene, the whole Andor led to the scene where we saw Darth Vader trying to get the card to where Luke Skywalker was. That don't mean nothing to you?
Oh, it does. That definitely does. That's another show I was going to say is very good. But, 7, 8, 9 movies, I'm just like, take them or leave them. That's just how I see them. But prequels and everything, the shows, fine with them for the most part. Yeah, the shows I'm okay with. I don't really have any problems come to think about it with any of those. But yeah, love Star Wars. Just those last 3 movies, 7, 8, 9. I'm like, just not me. But yeah, I didn't know that you were also a Star Wars fan, and it kind of puts a smile on my face knowing we have that in common.
I'm a Star Wars nut, man. And what is the homesick angel? Looks like a motorcycle gang jacket.
Not exactly. We can talk about that a little bit off camera. Not because anything bad. It has to do with what my job is and everything. But yeah, man, I mean, it's very important to me, and it has been for a good amount of time now. And shout out to my old buddy Cody, who brought me on board with this, and I'll explain that in a minute. But so now I got to ask you, because we're in this realm, who's your favorite character? I got a
feeling that, I made the motorcycle jacket gang thing, but it kind of looks more spiritual to me. It looks kind of more about, heaven and Christ, If you're trying to hide it, don't hide it.
No. Don't hide that at all. And even our shows with Elijah Burke, I say praise the Lord. I don't mind it at all. I do have
there you go. Amen.
Christian belief underneath, no matter what. Even though I don't show it when I'm walking down the street in every single way and say it every single moment,
but
it's
you don't
still
have
within
to
me.
do that.
Correct.
The Bible don't say to push people into submission to Christ. It says to give people the understanding of who you are in Christ, and to love everyone. Because look, Christ loved us. So when you have your next Bible meeting with the Pope Elijah Burke, you let him know that you got the word from Mark Henry, because he knows.
Absolutely. We've done a couple of shows together, and it's been great. And, now I do want to ask you, before we start going into recommendations or anything like that, who's your favorite character of Star Wars?
My favorite character, I know you're going to say, okay, why would you pick somebody that, for lack of a better term, wanted to ruin everything about everything? Darth Vader, his character was elite. His character was, Darth Vader was like me. He was born to be who he became. And he made no apologies for it. Like, he was just born with more metachlorians than everybody else. He was born that way. I was born this way. I was meant to be. God gave me that extra because he wanted to make sure that my destiny ended up the way. And the whole Star Wars saga talks about your destiny, where you're supposed to end, not where you begin. And that's why I wanted you to understand about the sagas. You talk about the beginning of the saga, but it's not about always the beginning. It's about the end. The end, the end tells the beginning, and you see the finish product in the first three. That's not ironic to you? What does that sound like to you? Sound like the Bible a little bit, don't it?
A little bit, yeah. And honestly, I think it was well told. And I do agree with you, just because, like, looking at it, Darth Vader's character, it's kind of the star of the whole show in a way. It's because of everything that happened with him, his character development, every traumatic experience created all of this. And in the end, he still did balance the Force, no matter how you want to look at it. So, yeah, I agree with you. The whole thing's about him. I can see why.
He's the key.
Wrestle Magic.
You want my recommendation, though?
Absolutely.
So now that I know that you are a Star Wars guy, my recommendation is the backstory for Boba Fett. Is the Mandalorian. Like, I walk around living my life like I'm from Mando. I'm Mando. This is the way. I say it all the time. You have to live by a code, like a certain level of respect. And in wrestling, we have that. It's called kayfabe. And kayfabe is dying. Through shows, through podcasts where people want to know how the sausage is made. I don't want to know how the sausage is made. I just want you to cook it and put it on my plate. I want to consume wrestling. I want to consume Star Wars. Don't give me the making. Unless it's in story form and it gives you the background of why I love or hate a character. That's all I want.
Fair
Mandalorian.
Enough. Absolutely.
Go to Disney and watch it from the beginning to the end, and you will be entertained in a way that you've never been entertained before, because it's like space and science fiction, but in a Western movie. God, is weird, but it's so good.
I agree. Totally. And, I do also want to throw this out here. Would you like to promote yourself, give off your Twitter, Instagram handles for anybody that wants to find you?
Man, I'm the Mark Henry on everything. And here pretty soon, in the next couple of 3 weeks, my website is going to launch. And my website is going to have 2 weekly shows on it. The Mark Henry Show is going to be the flagship of my website. But it's also going to be like internet famous. There'll be people that you see on the internet every day, through feeds, through reels, through different things. They're going to come on and tell their stories on my site, on my site, on Internet Famous. And I have at least 50 to 100 people that already agreed to do it. And people that you would know who they are. The first time, oh my God, it's that guy. Mm-hmm. And so that's going to be fun. And It's going to be themarkhenry.com. Right now, like, you can go on my social medias and buy T-shirts and autographs and action figures and all of that stuff. But the selling is not the biggest part of it. It's the experience, the Mark Henry experience, knowing where I'm going, where am I going to eat, who am I meeting up with, you know, like what am I doing? Like tomorrow, I normally would be doing Busted Open. I'm not doing Busted Open tomorrow. My daughter's wrestling in a district meet. So I'm going to the district meet and watch her wrestle. And, of course, I'm me. So I know what's going to happen. I know that people are going to want me to sign autographs and take pictures and all of that stuff. And I'm all for it. But while I'm watching my daughter wrestle, do not get yelled at, because I am going to be focusing on her. Get
Absolutely.
It? All right.
Awesome.
Somebody's going to get it.
Greatly appreciate the recommendation, Mr. Mark Henry. And so next thing I'm going to ask Scully, what is your recommendation for this week, man? Do you have one? And if not, just go straight in with your tags and everything and where to reach you.
My recommendation is a band called Earthbound. It's like a heavy metalcore rock band. And they even have some cool bit in the middle where they have saxophone in it and stuff. And I've never really heard it in that type of music before. And I was just like, man, this is mad. So they've only got one album so far. And yeah, that would be that. And then, yeah, we're at the Wrestle Magic Pod on everything. So please come and check us out. And especially on YouTube, where you can watch all our videos and great interviews with people like Mark Henry here.
All right. Well, I got Earthbound locked down right here. I'll check it out.
Awesome. But all right, guys. So my recommendation for this week, this time it is going to be, because we talked about Star Wars and you reminded me of one of my favorite childhood games, I'm going to say Star Wars The Force Unleashed. That game, you start off, Darth Vader ends up with an apprentice that he's keeping a secret from the Emperor. He decides, you know what, this kid's going to be just the absolute monster with the Force, and that's all he's going to be. He's going to hunt Jedi or whoever I want with him. And then story goes from there. I don't want to spoil it for y'all, but it's a very fun game. If you guys can find a copy or, you know, have a new version of it. I believe they released it again for the Switch. I'm not exactly 100% on that, but yeah, Star Wars Force Unleashed. That was one of my favorites.
You're a gamer?
I am a little bit, yes, sir.
You ever play Fortnite?
A little bit, not too much. You big on that?
My boy's good at it.
I am elite.
Oh, Fortnite. Man.
I'm thinking I come in first or second or third probably 90% of the time.
Oh, jeez.
I'm hard to beat.
Do you ever
if
stream?
I'm on the board, I'm that guy that surprises you. He's like, oh, where did he come from? I kill the crown more than anybody because I know how crowns think. Nice.
So are you like a streamer with it at any point, or you just play for the enjoyment?
It's going to be on my website. Like seeing me do all of the things. You are you like nature calls. You like Jim Carrey, where all the animals coming out. Go ahead and do like this and call all the birds.
Oh, Scully, he's calling you out. You got your dog coming up and attacking you.
Daisy.
Oh, man.
Went down.
I love it.
But, all right. So there's my recommendation for the week. And you guys know how I typically end the show. So you guys can reach me at MaintenanceMav on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And as I always end the show, do something nice for somebody out there. You never know who needs it. Somebody needs just the basic things, even just a message to your buddy. Maybe you're going to a store to grab yourself a Monster to get you through work. Grab one for your buddy as well and just say, hey, man, thought of you this morning. Here you go. Get through today just as well as yesterday. And you know what? With that, in the words of my buddy Memphis Mark, we're out.